Okay. So, welcome to day three, the Mindset Matters Challenge, where everything you thought you believed about birth and life is about to be shifted. So, in this session today, I'm going to be talking about your thoughts, and we're going to talk a little bit about the subconscious mind also. So, essentially, in a day, we experience between 60 and 70,000 thoughts a day. Okay. Now, this might seem a bit weird, but it's not, because the thing is, your brain is so efficient, you won't realize that you are having those 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, because your brain has a mechanism, a sifting sort of mechanism that it sifts through all of the thoughts. The only way that you actually become aware of a thought is when there is an emotion attached to that thought. So you would think a thought, an emotion would come up, and then you would experience a behavior. And when that happens, then you have a choice. You can become that person that continues to believe and think that thought, or you can become more aware and you can choose to actually change the thought. So this is something that requires a bit of work. It requires a bit of building a habit. It requires repetition. But having said that, it is one of the techniques that worked massively for me at the very start of my journey. When I first got pregnant with my daughter Luna, I used this technique that I'm going to teach you today of flipping the script, which at the first couple of weeks felt really weird doing it, because you're kind of almost trying to pretend that the thought that you're actually having is not real, and you're trying to replace it with a new thought. But after doing that a couple of weeks, it almost feels natural to you. You begin believing it because you're starting to embody the version of that person that's already achieved the birth on their terms. So it shifts things massively, and it's really worth doing for sure. The subconscious mind is incredibly powerful. So I want you to remember this. Your subconscious mind is powerful. Whatever you focus on expands, and you always have a choice. You can always choose what you think, what you choose to think about. The reason why I say the subconscious mind is powerful is because 95% of our reality is created through our subconscious mind. That's quite a big chunk. So imagine anything that is happening on your external world is being navigated by your subconscious mind, by your beliefs, by your values, by your identity, the person you're being. Your subconscious mind is basically determining your life. And there's more that goes into the subconscious mind, because with the subconscious mind, this is an area of our brain that is basically programmed from the ages of 0 to 7 years old. From the ages of 0 to 7, we didn't actually have our conscious mind present. All we had was a subconscious mind. When we have a subconscious mind at that particular time in our life, from the ages of 0 to 7, we were like little sponges, basically absorbing every single belief, every single thought, everything from everyone that surrounded us, from our parents, our grandparents, our aunties, our uncles, our cousins, our teachers, everyone that surrounded us. If they had their thoughts and their beliefs that they would say to us certain things, like, for instance, stop eating with your mouth open. Don't eat with your mouth open. But who ever made up this rule? Someone obviously along the lines made up that rule, but is it the law? No, you can eat with your mouth open if you want to. But again, that was a belief that was put on you as a child. You should eat with your mouth closed. You shouldn't talk with your mouth full. You need to hold the fork in your left hand and the knife in your right hand. Who said that that's law? That was a belief that came down from your grandparents, their parents, their grandparents, etc., etc. And then your parents took it on. They then passed it on to you. And now guess what? You eat with the fork on the left hand and the knife on the right hand, right? This is just a small indication so that you can start seeing how things are. It's like, for instance, when we're in school, we're told that we've got to be good girls. Who said we've got to be good girls? Your teacher, your mom, your dad, a whole load of adults probably did say you had to be a good girl. But no, you didn't actually need to be a good girl. You needed to be a good girl, in their vision of what a good girl is. But in your vision of what a good girl is, once you've done all of this work, it's not really the same as their vision. So it's looking at things from another lens. It's really understanding all of the beliefs that we've been told to this day. I actually have a coach that actually says that they're all lies because they are based on other people's beliefs. They're not based on what you truly believe. And when you can start sifting through certain things in your life and become more aware of it, you have the power to be able to change any beliefs that you hold. You have the power to be able to change the way that you think, to change the way that you are being. I mean, just to give you guys an example, all of my childhood, probably in the early stages, I was, from the photos that I see and from the stories that I hear, I was very much like my middle daughter, very like extrovert, like I'd be dancing. I would be, I was like a drama queen. That's what, that's the idea that I have that I was. And when I speak with other people, it was very much that. There came a flip at some point in my life, in my journey, where that drama queen, that person that used to be very extravagant and wanting to dance and sing and do all of these crazy things, started to be quietened down to the point that I then, from being extrovert, became introvert. I became the person that was shy. Oh yeah, Carmen, she's shy. She doesn't really talk much. She's the type of person that doesn't really speak much. She just listens. She's more of an observer. And that wasn't always the case. But again, that was a belief that I brought upon myself because of what other people were telling me. It reached a point so much so that I struggled to actually speak my truth. And when I started delving into this deeper level work, I ended up finding out that actually I needed to be speaking my truth in order to get whatever I needed to get out. And when I look at my human design, and if this is something that you guys haven't yet delved into, I would strongly recommend you guys taking a look. There is something that's called human design. You can find out your human design type. It's consisting of your date of birth, your time of birth, and the location where you were born, and you'll then get your human design type as well as a whole load of other different elements, which once you start looking into it, you'll start to understand who you were truly meant to be. And it wasn't until I had a reading with someone for my human design type. This was last year, beginning of last year. And we were having a reading. And one of the things she mentioned to me on my chart was that I was put on this planet to be able to speak my truth, to be able to voice myself, to take a cause and voice about those things that needed to be spoken about. And that broke me because for all of these years, I had been the type of person that had kept quiet, that had listened, that had I'd always be thinking of what I was going to say, because my mother always used to say to me, you need to think before you speak. You should only speak if you're spoken to. You shouldn't interrupt people. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. It was all of these beliefs that were held around my voice. And when I found out that actually you were actually meant to speak, you're meant to be a speaker, you're meant to do all of these things with your voice, that broke me. I thought, wow, all of these years I've held myself back on the belief that actually I was that introvert person, that I was the person that didn't really speak much. I used to struggle going on Instagram and doing a live. I used to struggle coming on and doing a Zoom. Like even in a face-to-face capacity, I used to break out in a sweat beforehand and get really nervous about it. Now it just comes naturally. Why? Because I've done so much work on myself. I want you to understand something. This belief followed me in the birth room. It followed me in my first birth. It followed me in my second birth. It didn't follow me in my third birth because I had done sufficient amount of work on it that I was no longer prepared to take any crap from anyone. So the first birth came in. Oh, should we do this? Yeah, okay, let's do that. Should we do this? Yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah, okay. Everything was yes. There was no questioning. There was no, but what about this? But what if we change course and we do this? Nothing. It was all about the yes. The second time round, it was the same thing. It was the same patterns that were coming up. I didn't really question anything. I didn't ask for another opinion. I just kept agreeing to everything. And then the third time, everything changed. I became the feistiest person going into every single antenatal appointment, literally being told that no, you can't have a vaginal birth after 2 cesareans, to stepping into my power and saying, you watch me. My booking appointment, the midwife turned around to me and said, so shall we book you in for a third cesarean? I looked at her and I said, no, actually, I'm trying for a vaginal birth after 2 cesareans. She said, oh, yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen. I just looked at her and I was like, yeah, we'll see about that. Well, we'll have to speak with the consultant and then they will decide whether you can or you can't. And I looked at her and I said, no, the person that's going to be deciding will be me. No one's going to be deciding that for me. I will be the one to decide whether I have it or not. And right now, I am having it. So I affirmed it straight away with her. The old me would have been like, okay, yeah, okay, I'll just book in a third cesarean. We'll do what you want me to do because you know better, right? But no, I chose not to. I chose to change my identity. I chose to do this deeper level work. And I can promise you now, when you start opening up, this is like opening up so much. It's like peeling back layers and layers of conditioning from our childhood, from our teenage years, from our early adult life. And when you start peeling back the layers, I can promise you this, everything starts to change. It's not just your birth experience, it's your life starts to change also. My life has changed in ways that I can't even begin to explain. Opportunities showing up, people that I'm working with who I never ever thought that I would be working with, that I am working with now. The possibilities are literally limitless. You are infinite potential. You can achieve anything that it is that you want to achieve. So I want you to remember that whatever you focus on expands, and your subconscious mind is really that powerful. By what I mean, focusing on what you focus on expands is the following: the stories that you hear, the conversations that you have about birth. Be very mindful of who you are speaking with about birth, even when it comes to positioning, even when it comes to different conditions that come up in birth. Be very, very mindful of what you are consuming birth-wise, because I can tell you now, all it takes is one little seed to be planted into your subconscious mind, that your subconscious mind, all it needs to do is just believe that that's possible, and it will go ahead and achieve it. That is how powerful our subconscious mind, and there is scientific evidence proving this. So just be very aware of that, of the conversations you're having and what you're feeding your subconscious mind. We're going to do the flipping of the script now, which is the great technique that I used during my pregnancy. And I still use it now also, except now it's sort of like on autopilot. Whenever a thought comes in that I don't agree with, I'll be like, yeah, I don't believe it. And then I'll flip it straight away. But for the first week or two, you might find that you have to consciously do this. So the first part is taking a negative thought that comes up. So if there is a negative thought that you feel has been coming up for you consistently, I want you to write it down on a piece of paper now. If you have it with you, if you have a piece of paper and a pen with you, write it down. And then I'm going to get you, once you've written it down, I'm going to get you to close your eyes for me. And I want you to feel it. So feel it in your body. Think the thought, and feel it with your eyes closed. So take a breath in and out. Just begin to think of that negative thought and begin to feel it in your body. How does that negative thought feel in your body? Just notice what's happening in your body as you're thinking it and as you're feeling it. Maybe you feel some tightness in your chest. Maybe you feel your shoulders and your head may be coming down. Maybe you feel just a bit of anxiety, maybe something going on in your tummy. Just notice it. So think it, feel it, and then just notice what's happening in your body. And just do that for a few more seconds. I want you to take another deep breath in now and exhale. Another deep breath in and release that breath. And just opening your eyes when you're ready. And I want you just to shake your body out. So just really shake your body out, shake your arms, shake your legs, just really shake your body out. Okay. Let me know in the comments what you were feeling in your body, what was coming up for you. You can have a look. When I first did this exercise, I felt a lot of anxiety around my chest. That's where it usually would come up, my chest, and also around my throat. I used to feel it a lot there. And when I did feel it, it felt really heavy. So the key thing is you need to be able to feel those feelings, because when you are bringing it to surface, it means that it's ready to be let go of and it's ready to be healed. Let me just check the chat quickly. Felt pain for a moment on my right side of my belly. Okay, interesting. Interesting. So this is important, because what I want you to do is the next time that you feel this sort of pain coming up, I want you to ask yourself or catch yourself in the moment, where's this pain coming from? Ask yourself these questions. Why am I feeling this pain right now? Where is this coming from? Okay. Right. So the second part is we're going to change that thought. The first thought, we're going to cross it out on your piece of paper and you're going to write a new thought. So you're going to change that thought around. So if your thought is, I don't know, I'm afraid of birth, your new thought, your empowering thought is going to be, birth is absolutely incredible. I cannot wait to experience it, whatever it might be. So just write your new thought out. And then what you're going to do once you've written your new thought out, again, you're going to close down your eyes. You're going to think your new thought. Only this time, you're going to take a nice breath into your heart space and breathe out. And take another breath into the heart space and breathe out. And you're going to start feeling the feel-good feelings that you will associate with that new thought. So if that new thought is about you having the most incredible birth experience, you're going to feel the feelings as though you have already achieved that experience. So what feelings are coming up? Love, joy, happiness, gratitude. Feel those feelings in your body and notice now what's happening in your body when you're feeling those feelings. Just notice it. Just a few more seconds. I want you to take a nice deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Again, breathing in and out. Just coming back into the room and just opening your eyes when you're ready. And now I want you to write down in the comments what you felt in your body after thinking that new thought. The idea is for your body to have felt more relaxed, more open, more willing to receive and call in that new birth. But this will be different for everyone. So let's just see what comes up in the chat. And it will be good to be able just to notice it, just to pay attention to it, just notice it and just see what comes up in your body. Let's see. So one of the things also with regards to the flipping of the script, whilst we just hold out for a few moments, the flipping of the script, you are going to want to be doing this with every negative thought that comes up. Not necessarily this whole process. I got you to be in this process so that you could then see what exactly the steps were. But essentially, what you need to be doing is when that thought comes through, you're obviously going to have an emotion that's attached to that thought. So you don't need to be focusing in on the emotion. But what I want you to do is I want you to say, that's enough. And then you're going to bring in your new thought. So you're going to replace that old thought with a new thought, and you're going to feel the emotions that that new thought is going to bring you. Okay, I couldn't really switch and not feel scared. Okay, so this over here, this needs additional work done. This is something that you could be doing, this flipping of the script and working through it. Would it reach the core, the deep core rooted belief? Maybe not. Maybe not so much. I think with this, it needs to be something that goes deeper, which I go deeper in my one-to-one sessions, which is a matrix re-imprinting process that I do, which I'm happy to chat to you about. And that we can really work on the deeper level beliefs. But for now, what I want you to do is I want you to understand where the fear is coming from. And I want you to do the task of the table did I do the table method? No, I didn't. So there is another way that we can do this. Actually, I'll cover it now in this session now. But there is a thing that's called the table leg method, which is a great way to be able to help release some of the beliefs. With the table leg method, what you're going to do is you're going to write, you're going to do like a little table, and then at the top, you're going to write what your thought is. And then on this each table leg, you're going to write a piece of evidence that's supporting that that thought. And when you're able to do that, you're then going to try and poke holes in the evidence that you've got on the table leg. By poking holes, I mean, for instance, if your initial belief is, I'm afraid of birth, and you have the supporting evidence saying, my mother had a really traumatic birth experience, my sister had to have an epidural, someone else had to have this. By poking holes, you're going to go and you're going to look at your mother's story and you're going to ask, okay, why did this happen? Why did this unfold the way that it did? In my example, my mother was induced, so it's only natural that she felt things a lot more. And she was lying on her back and she didn't have the power to be able to navigate birth on her terms. There was a lot of fear instilled in her. Someone else's scenario, they were lying down, they were restricted to a bed. For them, it was awful. They shared that story with me. Can you see where this is going? I'm trying to poke holes in the stories that I've heard because, again, whatever you see or perceive to be reality, is all based on the beliefs that you hold and the thoughts that you have been thinking. And that all comes as baggage from stories, from previous beliefs of other people. It is not yours. It's someone else's beliefs, someone else's fears that have been put onto you. Look at yourself as a child, as a newborn baby. And if you've got children already, you'll notice this in your own children. What do toddlers do when they start walking? They start walking, they take a few steps, they're out of balance, and then what happens? Boom, they fall on their bottom. And we're like, oh, get up, it's okay, come on, let's try again. And then they go again, and they take a few more steps, and then boom, they fall on the floor again. And then they get up, and they keep trying, and they keep going. There is no fear. Do you know how the fear happens? The fear happens or starts in them when they're about to go into something that we feel is dangerous. They're not actually in the danger, but we're seeing it happening. And because of our beliefs that we hold, we believe that it's going to unfold in a dangerous way. For instance, imagine your toddler is now starts wanting to run, starts running. What do? Don't run, because you're going to fall and you're going to hurt yourself. There you go. There's the fear. There's the first layer of fear that's created. And then there'll be another layer of fear. And then there'll be another layer of fear. You weren't actually born afraid as a child. You were born trusting. You were born with a clean slate. Everyone else's conditioning and fears were put upon you from the ages of 0 to 7, where you were that little sponge. So this is why I want you to start looking at these beliefs. I want you to start looking at these fears. I want you to really dig deeper on this. It's really, really important. Once you've done the table leg method, the idea is to, with all the pieces of evidence you have, let's say if you've got 4 pieces of evidence that support your limiting belief, you are going to try and find 3 pieces of new evidence that will say that the belief is actually not true, that it's a lie. That's going to knock the table legs down. Because the thing is, without 3 of the table legs, the tabletop will fall down. It won't be supported. So this is something that's really important to do. And then once you've done that, you can then look at a new belief that you're taking on and then find new supporting evidence for that. It's a powerful exercise. It does take time, but again, there are ways that we can work through this faster with the matrix reimprinting sessions that I do. So if anyone does want to find out a little bit more about the one-to-one sessions, drop me an email, drop me a message, let me know, because we can definitely point you in that direction afterwards. So hope that makes sense. We are going to move on to the next slide, which is homework. So what I want you to do over the next 24 to 48 hours is I want you to write down the thoughts that come up for you. This is simply about the awareness. This isn't about beating yourself up about it. This isn't about, calling yourself names because you thought about that thought. It is simply just bringing it to your awareness. And once you've done that, I want you to flip the script on every thought you have written down. When you do this, notice whether you are able to get behind your new thought. And if not, and you want to go and find proof so that you can get behind it. That's the key thing. It's finding the proof. It's finding the proof that isn't true. But again, this works on things on a superficial level. If you're needing something deeper, I want to encourage you to explore just getting in touch with me. We can book a clarity call. And in fact, I'm going to send my calendar in the email. And if anyone wants to jump on a clarity call, which is literally a 20-minute call, we can have a chat about the different options that are available for you. Because I've been finding one thing, that when expectant parents are working more on their belief system, they're working on healing their previous birth experiences, they are achieving the most incredible births ever, literally. And I'm not just saying this because this is what I'm doing now. I'm saying this because the evidence is showing up. People are coming back and saying, oh my God, I had the most incredible experience ever. This happened, everything shifted, everything changed. And that's all of it down to the mindset. Even other people are coming through and saying, "Oh my gosh, I didn't realize how much the mind plays such a huge role." But yet, in hypnobirthing, we get taught, the mind leads, the body follows. What does that say to you? If the mind is leading with fear, your body's going to follow with fear. If your mind is leading with confidence, your body's going to follow with confidence. But one very important thing that is missing is that trauma, be it big trauma or little trauma, is all stored within the body. So if that hasn't been worked through, again, that could potentially also show up in the birth experience. And this is something that needs to be delved into on a much deeper level. So I really hope that these 3 days have been really, really helpful. As I mentioned, the next steps could be there's a few different avenues that we can work together. I've got for anyone that's planning a VBAC, there's Unleash Your VBAC Power, which is a powerful pre-recorded course. You get access for life. It is £111. We've currently got a promotion going on of 30% off. So if you did want to get on that, I would get on that soon because that discount is going to be coming to an end very, very soon. There is also Biomechanics and Mindset Masterclass, which currently it's at an introductory rate of £55, if I'm not mistaken. So that might be something worth looking at too, if you're not planning a VBAC, but you're planning maybe a physiological birth or natural birth, and you might just want to get a few indications of what you can do to help prepare your body and your mind. That would be an amazing one to do. And then we've obviously got the one-to-one sessions, which is really, really helpful. Then there is also the other option, which is birth keeping. So if you have the thought of maybe wanting a doula or a birth keeper to be present at your birth, that's a service that I offer too, of course, to people that are in and around the London area. But that's something that's been super, super helpful, having someone that is knowledgeable, that can give you the support, the emotional support, the physical support during this journey too. And that is something that I offer also, which again, we can have a chat about it in the clarity call if that helps. So I am going to finish up this recording. Thank you so much to those that did come in and watch, and I will see you back next time.